Hey there, my name is Megan and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing my September TBR, and I'm actually doing this a little bit earlier than I wanted to, and this TBR is going to be a hot mess, y'all. It truly is. But before we go ahead and get on into the books, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as well as the little bell icon so you can be notified every time I post new bookish content. I post new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, and sometimes other days throughout the week. Also, you can check down in the description box below for links to my Patreon, where I do book giveaways, as well as my Amazon shop. So the reason that my September TBR is a hot mess is because I have a couple of holds, audiobook-wise, going on with my library. And then I also have a couple books that I'm currently reading that I know I'm not going to finish in August, so they're going to roll into September. So I'm going to start there. And then there's a couple of series that I want to continue with. I just posted a video about series that I want to finish by the end of 2023. I know I'm not going to get to them all. I'll link up in the cards for you, but I would definitely feel accomplished if I got through some of them. So the first carryover from August is going to be Cibola Burn by James S.A. Corey. This is book 4 in the Expanse series. I am currently listening to this via audiobook, and it's like a 20-hour audiobook, and I'm only listening to probably 30 minutes a day to and from work at 1 1/4 speed, which is not fast. And I know I'm not going to finish it by the time it's due back, and I can't renew it. So once that audiobook goes back to the library, I will definitely be physically reading this. I'm currently 22% of the way through, which is not a lot. But in Cibola Burn, we are actually following a world called Nuterra, and Nuterra was colonized, but then there is some debate about it, and the RCE ends up landing there and bringing along scientists to study on Nuterra, and the locals do not like that, so they end up basically exploding a launch pad and injuring the ship that brought these scientists, and a lot of them got injured and killed. So now the RCE is declared martial law on this planet. So Holden is sent in to mediate the tensions between the colonists and the RCE, you know, the scientists and the corporation and all of that, who are interested in Nuterra because it has a supply of lithium. So that's where I'm at. A lot of politics going on in this world. I'm enjoying it way more than Abaddon's Gate so far, and that's all I have for you guys. So like I said, don't think I'm going to finish this in August, so it'll probably carry over into September. Next, we have The Changeling by Victor LaValle, and this one I have checked out from my library. This is a standalone fantasy horror from my understanding, and I also have the audiobook on hold. It says there is a 2-week wait for this. So I've technically already started reading this. I've only read about 12 pages, but I'm going to stop reading that until I'm done with my current read, because I have a tendency to like read too many books at once and then none of them get finished. But in this book, we are following a boy named Apollo, and Apollo's father went missing, and the only thing that was left for him by his father was from this stranger. It was like a box with his belongings. Fast forward several years, Apollo is now newly married and has a new baby, and his wife Emma ends up acting really strange, and he thinks it's just postpartum depression, but it's actually something else, and she ends up doing something horrific, and Apollo ends up having to basically go after his wife and his child and figure out what's going on. And the story ties together with his father's disappearance. It kind of takes him to this magical island where he's uncovering all of these secrets. So I know that this is a fairly dark story, and it is very like dark fairy tale-esque, so I've heard. And I don't know really how I'm going to do this, so I do want to start physically reading this again as soon as I'm done with Valor, and then I might just jump to the audiobook when the audiobook becomes available. We'll see how fastly I can get through this. Like I said, I've never read this author before. I don't know how I mesh with his writing style, really. Regardless, I will be finishing this book in the month of September. And then I'm going to finally be finishing the Shades of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab, which I'm ashamed that I have not finished already. I'm going to be reading A Conjuring of Light, And I'm really excited to finally finish the series. V.E. Schwab is one of my favorite authors of all time. This is a portal fantasy. It follows several Londons. Each London has like a different color. There's black, red, white, and gray London. And we follow Kel and Antari, who is one of the only people that can travel between these Londons. And he kind of acts like a political figure, bringing news between the different Londons. And at one time, all the Londons had magic. Now only Red London has magic. And there's just a lot of politics going on in this book, and Kel's kind of like thrown into the middle of it. So I'm super excited to delve back into this series, into this world, and just check another finished series off of my list. Next, I'm going to continue with my read of The Faithful and the Fallen by getting to Ruin by John Gwynne. This is book 3, and I'm almost done with book 2. I have about 100 pages left, a little more than 100 pages left. And the good thing about John Gwynne is that his books, yes, are very dense. They're very long page count wise, but his writing is very easy for me to get through. It's very like accessible, it's easy to read, and it's easily written. So I know that even though this is such a big book, I will be able to finish it. And in this world, we are following a whole cast of characters. Like, this is definitely your traditional epic fantasy type setup. But our main protagonist is Corbin. He is a teenager who is chosen to be the avatar of the god of this world and to fight against the devil type being of this world known as Azeroth and his avatar. So we have Corbin, who's known as the Bright Star, and then we have the kind of antagonist known as the Dark Sun, and there are all these prophecies that surround these characters and their futures, and there essentially is going to be like an apocalyptic war between these two sides, and you have Corbin and the antagonist who are in the middle of them. But then we also have like a lot of players in the Banished Lands that are working for this demon or devil Azeroth, and he is kind of commanding them to take over parts of this land. So there is a lot of war going on, a lot of battles. And then you also have different sects of giants that live in this world, and some of them are loyal to, you know, the dark side, and some of them not so much. So there's definitely a lot at stake here. There's a lot of players in this world. The plot has a lot of threads, a lot of different plot lines, a lot of different character point of views. But it's a fun, good time, and definitely just brings me back into that, you know, traditional fantasy type story. Next, I want to get to Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. This book is Secret Project number 3, and he said that it has like Asian type inspiration, I guess Asian myth and stories, which I really know nothing about. But we are following two characters. We are following Yumi, and we are following Painter, essentially. And Yumi comes from a very peaceful world of gardens and meditation, while Painter comes from a world of technology and nightmares. When their lives become inadvertently intertwined, the two of them, who sound like complete polar opposites, have to figure out a way to work together to save both of their worlds from destruction. I think this is really going to be a fun, cute story. I think there's going to be a romance between these two characters. And I think all of the secret projects are narrated by Hoyd. So he's essentially telling us the story, which is kind of interesting, even though he's not like part of the main story, which is just a different narrative style, and I really liked it when I read Tress of the Emerald Sea. So I'm definitely excited to delve into Brandon's world once again. All right, you guys, those are the 5 books that hopefully I will get to in September. Let me know in the comments, as always, if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them, or some books that you're planning on reading in the month of September, and I will see y'all in another video soon. Goodbye!